All right, you guys, what is going on? It's your boy Town. So, I wanted to go green on this one. You know, wanted to go green because I really wanted to dive in deep on this and talk about this particular subject matter. In case you guys don't know, this incident happened in the Miami area, Miami, Florida area. And it happened on May the 2nd, which was this past Saturday. Now, in case you guys don't know, you can look it up. There was an incident with a 31-year-old man and two brothers of, I guess, his apparent girlfriend. To make a long story short, I guess the girlfriend and her dude got into some kind of argument, which led to possibly some type of violence or maybe threats or whatever the case may be. So the girl called her two brothers. Her two brothers came over there, apparently, from what the reports say. I'm going to do a video about it, like, when I get home from work. But I wanted to talk about it now. I wanted to do a live about it because I feel like this is really important to talk about this. But apparently, the brothers came over there to fight the dude, or they did fight the dude. They put hands on him, or whatever the case may be, and he went and got a weapon, and he killed both of them. And he was taken into custody. He did wait. He didn't run. He didn't run. He waited for the police, the authorities to arrive. He had the weapon, and basically they took him into custody, and now he's being charged with capital murder in Florida. And I evaluated this. I remember, there's been some similar cases to this, very similar cases. He might walk because this might falls under standing your ground. That's what got that NFL player off. I forgot what his name is, but to be honest with you, he should have never been charged in the first place. It was a clear case of self-defense. When multiple people come to your house and they attack you and they try to fight you and all this kind of stuff, doesn't matter whether they retreat or not. They came to do bodily or possible grave harm to you. You have to do what you got to do. So to me, he shouldn't have went to jail in the first place. And we all know the situation with Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin was killed by George Zimmerman. George Zimmerman harassed him, stalked him, followed him, and Trayvon Martin defended himself when George Zimmerman was the aggressor and was stalking him. But because of politics, racism, etc., sensationalization of this case, when it was clearly a case of where George Zimmerman followed him, harassed him, should have been convicted. And then to see the aftermath of how cruel people was, how people were making fun of what happened to Trayvon Martin, wearing hoodies and stuff and taking selfies and posting them online, just horrible. So now what's going on with the woman? People are saying, damn, you got your brothers killed. And a lot of people are at odds. Some people are saying, well, she did what she was supposed to do and call their brothers, and that's just how it is. Nah, I don't know if I agree with that. My thing was, if she felt that her life was in danger, why didn't she just call the police? Why didn't she just call the police and let the police handle this situation? Because guess what now? Due to the fact, and I understand you want to protect your family members and stuff, but guess what now? Now her parents, along with her, they have to grieve. Took out both of them. Took out both of them. I don't know what the situation is with they parents. I don't know if they all come from the same parent, but obviously the brothers obviously had the same parent. And the funny thing is, it looked like the brothers were born on the exact same date. So I'm going to assume that all three of them had the same parents. And like I said, that's tragic. But now we have this debate on should she had even called them. Why didn't she just call the authorities? Maybe she should have called the police. And I can speak from experience about getting in domestic disputes with a woman and her man. A lot of times it's just time wasted. It's a wasted effort, because a lot of times the woman gonna still keep the dude around, or she'll temporarily break up with him and go right back to him. As I can speak from close up-hand experience, that happens a lot. And why some dudes just say, you know what, I'm not getting involved. You should bring the authorities into it and all that stuff. And it comes, and then you have this whole argument about protect black women and all this kind of stuff. Because it's sort of like a deep dive, and I'm saying a lot of people is going in on not just men. There's a lot of women going hard on her too, saying that she should have just, called the authorities. And then as far as the brothers go, listen, when you live in a Florida is not exactly an open carry state to a certain degree. It kind of is, but it kind of ain't. But they're very weapon friendly out there. The brothers should have went over there with the authorities. And I understand you want to protect your sister, but now you're not here to protect your sister. And the whole thing is, if this dude beats the case and this lady goes back to him after he killed two of her brothers, whether you believe it or not, this goes on a lot, where women, they'll temporarily not like a dude and they won't realize what they did, and then after the storm is over, then they go right back to the dude. Now the guy, he's sitting up, he's sitting up in jail. He has a no bond, you know what I'm saying? He can't be, I don't think he has a no bond, no bail, or whatever the case, or it's some astronomical amount. But it's just crazy that it had to come. It's crazy that it had to come to that. And I just say, for all you dudes that have been in that situation, it is one of them situations you have to think long and hard that you want to get involved in something like this. I mean, if the person calls you and says that they in dire needs, well, if you feel like you need to go over there, you call the police. This ain't got shit to do with the streets and none of that kind of stuff. You know, y'all like to use that civilian language. Well, it ain't got nothing to do with the street if it's a family member. And I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes we put too much on that. Oh, if I bring the authorities into it, I'm snitching. Nah, you just doing what you supposed to do. You just doing what common sense does. How common sense works. Because like I said, I'm looking at this from all angles. I feel bad for the girl. I feel bad for their parents that they're still alive, that they have to go through such a traumatic experience like this. This is a very sad moment for them. I would never want to be in their shoes, because I'm gonna tell you, that girl is gonna have to possibly look at that guilt, and she gonna question herself. She gonna be like, did I get my brothers killed? Did I cause my brothers to lose their life? And what I've been hearing from the response based off this story, a lot of people are saying that it is her fault, and saying that she shouldn't have got them involved, and that she should have just called the police if it was that serious, because it was something going on outside. I did a video. It was something going on outside, and basically, to make a long story short, the authorities got called because I heard a loud scream. I mean, if you hear a loud scream, of course you're gonna be kind of like, all right, what the hell going on? You know, are you gonna get personally involved and all that kind of stuff? So, you know, at the end of the day, I heard such a loud scream, I paused the video, and, you know, I did go out there and take a look, but, you know, I went out there with some protection. Not gonna say what kind of protection, and I went out there, and no, it wasn't a condom neither. I went out there just to take a quick look, you know, went back in the house. But the authorities ended up, you know, showing up. So that's why I'm just thinking about this right here, because like I said, this is a real slippery slope. And I made a video talking about this, about what could happen if you get involved in something, and it kind of proves my point. I didn't want to get my point proven this way, where it was some lady talking about that black men are not stepping up and volunteering to protect black women when they're out and about. And I made a video saying this is what could happen to a random black person. Now this happened to this girl's brother. This happened to her brothers. Like I said, he took out both of them. He took out both of them. They went over there to put hands on him, and he put bullets in them. He wasn't trying to fight. So now, like I said, what's going to be the talking subject, the talking point of this later on down the line, because of course there's going to be a trial and all that kind of stuff, and there's going to be some people that's going to put this out there. They're going to probably say that he should get off, because listen, whether he put his hands on her or not, you can't come to somebody, and this happened, and if I'm not mistaken, this happened before. This happened in the same situation happened in Detroit, where a girl called her brothers, and they went over there trying to check the dude, and he ended up shooting them. That's the thing. If you come to listen, don't go to the person's house, because to a certain degree, they can claim self-defense. They can claim self-defense if you come over there. The best thing for you to do, if you feel like it's that bad for you, you are in dire needs of law enforcement. Either lock yourself in a room. Lock yourself in a room. Wait till authorities come, and then you take it from there. Because this is what possibly could happen. So this is why I was saying, to a certain degree, it's really by choice. Because that's the point I was making. So, you know, and I don't mean to sound mean and all this kind of stuff. A lot of men are not getting involved because, once again, they don't know what type of person you could be. They don't know what they don't know what the logistics is of the situation. And then also, well, that could happen to you. The guy pulls out a strap and then he just starts letting off rounds. And the question remains, if I'm out of here, are you going to take care of my children? Are you going to make sure my children have what they need? You're just going to go about your merry way. And if you do happen to see my children run across them, you may be like, oh, I'm sorry for. And it's like, okay, well, you sorry for my loss, but guess what? I don't have a dad no more, and he can't take care of me anymore. So this is what I'm trying to say. I think at this point, it's better not to, and I just want to say this to the guys out there, because I know a lot of y'all can relate to this. Y'all done been in them situations where these women, they called you and all this kind of stuff, and so-and-so is doing this, he hit me and all this kind of stuff. If you gonna do something, and listen, I feel like this, if you feel the need, you want to do something and handle it yourself, it's gonna be one of them buyer beware situations. Yeah. If you want to handle things yourself, then so be it. You have to think long and hard. It's pros and cons with everything. It's a plus and a minus. Okay, if you want to handle things, okay, if you see them somewhere and you feel like you got to drop on them, or you feel like you in a better, if you can make a move on them and whatever the case may be, then hey, if that's what you feel you need to do. But you have to understand, if you come to somebody's residence, they got they got the upper hand. And then you have to think, okay, but what if this, and then you have to also think, what if this person is exaggerating? So you have to look at it from all perspectives. Like I said, it's a tragic situation. It's sad that it came to something like that, but geez, I don't wish that. And when I say I don't wish that on nobody, I couldn't even imagine getting a phone call like that. But you just have to tell the truth. You really need to think long and hard if you want to involve yourself in domestic violence disputes with family members. Because like I said, I didn't seen where dudes then went over there to check, and I could tell you from personal experience, I didn't been that person that went over there where a family member called and all this kind of stuff. Then you go over there to see what's up, and then all of a sudden the person get mad at you and tell you to stay out their business. But you called me, or you called so-and-so. So it's best that you just stay out of that type of stuff. Call the authorities. Like I said, if you choose to go to hostile territory, which is this, obviously they went to his place. Once again, he has the upper hand. And I'm telling you, I'm telling you what he gonna say. He gonna say it was self-defense. And it was in Florida. He possibly gonna say, hey, he was standing his ground. And he has a legitimate case to say that basically they came to him. They came to him to do bodily harm, and he felt, hey. And for you idiots that's sitting up saying, oh, it doesn't matter whether they fought and then he went and got a gun, he still, nah, doesn't work like that. Because once again, they came to where he was. They came to his house of residence. They came to his place of residence. So, just telling you. I don't know if he gonna go to jail because it happened It happened in Florida. Because I'm saying he can't claim he was standing his ground, so he might walk. And I used to always say this too. I used to always say this. Don't tell nobody that you gonna go. Don't. If you a woman, don't tell nobody you gonna call your brother. Don't openly say, "Oh, I'm gonna call my brother. He gonna come over here and he gonna do." Don't do that. Don't do that. Do not do that. Because I used to, of course, I done been through that, where you get into a disagreement with a woman and all that kind of stuff. And they'll say, oh, you better leave me alone before I call my brother. Like, one thing people need to understand, a person that ain't thinking rational, he will react out of fear. I done seen it where dudes then went and got the brothers before they could do anything to them. Now that does fall under premeditated, but don't ever tell nobody who you gonna call, who you gonna get, who you down with, and all that kind of stuff. Because actually, you putting, you know what I'm saying, you putting a target on them. Because some people, like I say, they'll see them and they may not even know what's going on. It's something to jump off. If you really gonna do something, plot it out strategically. I'm just telling y'all the truth, because you just have to say this kind of stuff. You just gotta be truthful. You just gotta be truthful. But what I am saying is, don't sit up there and say, hey, I'm about to call my brothers and all that kind of stuff, because you don't know what type of temperament. You don't know what is it. You don't know how he's feeling at the time, because already something that jumped off. The dude may possibly be scared, and I'm telling you right now, people react out of fear. I'm almost certain that girl called her brothers while he was standing in front of her. Guarantee you. You just can't do stuff like that. So now look what then happened. They out of here. Now you have to figure out how you gonna bury them. If it's that deep, if it's that serious, you call the authorities. You call the police. And if you the person that get called, you have to think about it long and hard. You have to think about, okay, what should I do? You should go, myself, you should call the authorities and you should send them over there, and then you go over there. Or you have the authorities meet you over there. I'm going to say this, and this is real talk. Everything don't translate to the street. This ain't street shit, okay? This ain't street shit. This ain't about snitching and all this kind of stuff and protecting your rep and all that kind of stuff. Listen, you got to do what you got to do. Fuck a rep. When it pertains to situations like that, that doesn't count. And at the end of the day, fuck these dudes that even think like that. You just gotta be a realist with that. You just gotta be real with yourself. You gotta be real about the situation. The hell with that, the hell with that street shit. Because that ain't one of them situations where it's a street stuff. whether you like it or not, and I think everybody have issues with law enforcement, especially if you melanated. But there will be a time where you may need them. In that particular case, now that this is an actual case, the two brothers, and I know they acted on impulse, and I understand it. I know they wanted to protect their sister. Well, now both of them are not here. What if these? I don't know all of the brothers' information. I don't know if they have children or whatever the case may be. But this is sad. It's very sad. I don't wish this on anybody. My heart goes out to the girl. My heart goes out to the family members of the woman and the brothers, because it is just tragic. But that's what happens when you decide to, that could possibly happen when you decide to get in those type of situations. You have to understand as a woman, when you invite somebody to your place, and if you're living together, you have to think about that. Now, I don't know if you remember the basketball player. That's exactly why he got, and it happened in Florida too. The one that the one that Miss Malika, after he was killed, brought up, Malika Andrews brought up his past, which basically it was thrown out. And the reason why he got killed is because basically his girlfriend decided to bring him along to, resolve some kind of issue that was going on with her friend, her best friend. So basically the girl talked him into coming over there. Now, I don't know if the dude tried to tried to rationalize with him. I don't know if he tried to do that. I don't know if he tried to talk to him. But keep in mind, this dude is well over 6 feet tall. So the dude basically saw him. I don't know if there was some kind of argument, but he ended up shooting him and killing him. And he said the same thing. He said he feared for his life. And because of that girl basically involving him in something that didn't really concern him, he got killed. He lost his life. And I'm pretty sure she went on about her business. And if you a family member, you thinking to yourself, damn, she got my brother, my cousin, or my uncle, or whatever killed. Which she shouldn't even got involved in it. She should have called the police. She didn't even talk nobody into coming over there to try to, defuse the situation, de-escalate. Once again, that's what the authorities for. So that's the point that I'm making. Very slow. And I understand everybody's angle with this, but me, myself, it would have been better for them to just go over there with the authorities. Police. And if they want to, do a follow-up, that's understandable. Show back to the